of me now as well. My parents are very proud. I can openly talk to them about,
Yeah.
you know, not doing the things that I used to do. And they they're cool with it, man, because they say, look, everybody goes through stuff. Everyone's got
Yeah.
their own journey,
Of course.
you know, and we're just so proud that you've come through that, you
Mhm.
know, and now we can sit here and they know, you know, and I purposely now, when I walk through the door, it could be like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning, right? And I've come from a gig or something, and I'll walk in, and my dad's just woken up to go to the bathroom. I'll go right up close to him and give him a hug, and say, "Good, Dad, you all right?"
Mhm.
So he can smell me,
Mhm.
and I'm doing it so he can smell that I don't smell of cigarettes and I don't smell of alcohol.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it gives him that reassurance that, yeah, is he still doing it? Is he still
Mhm.
trying to have a little cheeky one? Is he trying to pull the wool over our eyes? And
Mhm.
that's just me reassuring him without
Mhm.
saying a word.
Yeah.
But because they're not stupid, right? They
Yeah.
know, they can smell it. Like, you know, when we were younger,
Mhm.
and for those of you that have smoked, you think that your parents aren't going to smell it because you've had a bit of gum and you've washed your hands and
Mhm.
you've put a bit of deodorant on. Man, you still stink of fags, right?
Mhm.
You still stink. When you walk through that door, it lingers in with you.
Mhm.
And they know you're smoking. But they might not mention it because they think, no, I don't want to admit that my son's doing that. And we don't admit it to our parents because it's a respect thing, right?
Mhm.
And that's our culture. But you know, when you've come through it and you can sit down and say, "Yeah, Dad, I don't drink, I don't smoke," and you say it with confidence,
Mhm.
they're proud of you, man.
Mhm.
They're proud of you because, you know, it's a culture that we come from, that it's not really acceptable. Smoking
Mhm.
is not acceptable in Punjabi culture, you
Of
know.
course.
So, you know, for them to see you go through stuff and have your ups and downs, they'll always be very proud of you
Mhm.
with whatever you do, you know, whether it's working or going through whatever you've been through in life. But, you know, I think no matter, as long as you put 110% into whatever you do, they'll always be proud of you, man.
100. And
Mm.
just before I move on from that point,
Yeah.
is you yourself have been a big part of that, the new stars that are here today, because you've changed that belief system that Asian people can get on the mic and rock it. You don't have
Mm.
to be the best singer, as you said, or but your performance, you know, your unique ability to come on that stage and dance and move is probably inspired the next generation already to say, I can do that, which is some of these people on stages right now. They probably listen to music. I know I definitely was listening to your music in college, etc. So
Okay.
big respect to you, my bro.
No worries, man. Thank
So,
you, man. Appreciate it.
so Juggy, the big one comes.
Hmm.
Dance with You 2003.
Yeah, man.
Talk to me about it, bro.
Oh man, Dance with You. What a journey and what a track. That was to be part of, man. I can look back and only say, you know what, I was so happy to be part of that song, because that song created a movement.
Mhm.
It was not, we didn't plan to make a band or have a, you know, a trio. We were all individualized. I'd already been, you know, I'd already stepped into the industry with Najina
Mhm.
and the Craig David track. So I was already in the scene, you know. Jay had just started working with Rishi. He'd got his demo in front of Rishi. Rishi had been working with him, and in my first song, Najina, Jay was in there. He was in the background.
Okay.
He'd come down to our shoot, and you could call him an extra if you want, because
Jay Sean was your extra.
yeah, he didn't know, because he hadn't released anything then. He was part of a group, but they were unknown. They were like kind of that underground kind of vibe, and nobody knew who he was. So he had just started working with Rishi, and Rishi invited him down to my video shoot. So we all got to meet him there, but like I said, nobody knew who he was. And he went by the name of I can't remember what his other name was in his group, but his name was Kamaljeet Duty, right? And it was Nicky J. That's what he
Nicky
went by.
J.
He was like,
Okay.
"This is Nicky," and so yeah, he was at the shoot, and then shortly after that, the song came out. Me and Rishi had been working together, and then one day I got a call from Rish, and he's like, "Jugs, where are you? What you doing?" I said, "Oh, nothing. I'm at home." And he's like, "Okay." He goes, "Remember I told you about that guy? He came to your shoot, Nicky." And I was like, "Oh yeah." He goes, I've just been working with him on some stuff. I want you to come down and have a listen." I was like, "Okay." He goes, come down. And I was like, all right, cool. I said, I'll pop down in a bit. So I drove down to the studio, and they were all there. Manager that had signed Rishi as a producer, called Rob. That was 2.9, but 2.9 didn't exist then. That was just Rob, right?
Okay.
And there was a guy called Billy. But in the studio was Rob, Rishi, and as we know him now, Jay. All in the studio. He starts playing this record. And I'm listening to it, and I'm standing by the door, and I'm just nodding my head, and I'm like, yeah, man, this is a vibe. It's a vibe. I'm listening to it, and this, his hook comes on. I just want to dance with you. And I'm standing there, and all of a sudden, I've heard it a few times, and I went, oh, my teri naal nachna. And they all just stopped and went, what was that? And I went, what? They said, what did you just say there? I said what he said in English, in Punjabi. And they went, mate, that sounded sick. The manager was like, okay, hold on a minute. We're onto something here. Because I was just there to just have a listen, just generally. There was nothing more to happen. It was just me hearing their new record. That was it. And then it was like, okay, hold on a minute. We're trying to break. So they were a record label looking for a ethnic producer to break into the mainstream. That was their mission, right? Sorry, that was their mission. So they signed Rishi, and then when Rishi got signed to them as a producer, they were looking for an artist. So that was then Jay. So they were now looking at what they can get from him to put out as a single or potentially sign him, right? So he wasn't signed either yet. They were just working. He was just working with him. And then this was like the potential first single to get signed. So it was a whole process going on, and it was heading in that right direction, but it was a build up to it, right? And that was what happened at the time. And then it was like, well, Jugs, can you go in and record that? Can you put that down? And I'm like, okay. So went in, put it down, put the hook down, and they went, yeah. And he put it in, and he went, yeah, this is sounding crazy. And he's like, all right, listen, can you record a verse for me?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, all right, cool. So we chopped up this verse, wrote it out, and put the verse down. And he was like, man, this is a vibe. And the Gora, the manager, Rob, he was like, listen, this could be something actually here, because we're trying to break Indian artist into the mainstream. He's got his R&B vibe, but you've also brought your Indian culture. It's a fusion of the two. Perfect. This works for us. Like, all right, cool. So I was featured on that song. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know where it was going to go. Next thing we know, there's a video shoot happening, and it gets signed. The song gets signed, right? And it came out with Relentless. And it all happened so crazy, like everything that was happening. And I was standing at the back. The song's unfolding in the video shoot, and all these dancers and b-boys and b-girl and hip-hop dancers and all that are doing their thing. And I said to Rishi, I said, listen, I said, this got this Punjabi touch to it. I said, there's no bhangra happening. He's like, can you dance? And I went, yeah. He said, you do it. And I went, all right then. So I walked out and I started doing my moves and all that. And that's where part of the Juggy D dance started from. And that was it. That song was made like off chance. It wasn't planned. It was just made organically on the off chance that if I was not at home that day and I was out of town, would have never have happened. So
Wow,
that shaped all three of our careers.
how did you have the confidence to just get up in there and dancing like everyone's choreographed and shooting this video, and you just
Well, it
jumped
was
in?
freestyle. That, I guess, was part of it as well, because everyone was just freestyling. There was no choreography.
Right.
It was like a street vibe,
Yeah.
and it was very, very chilled. It was in Feltham, this pedestrianised area in front of a shop front, and that's why it was like I was like a little bit hesitant first, because I was like, these are all professional dancers. I'm just this kid from Southall that does bhangra at weddings, right? So, and I was like, I don't know whether I should or whether I shouldn't. And he was like, "No, go on, you do it. And he just gave me a bit of encouragement. And yeah, next thing you know, I'm busting some shapes, some bhangra shapes in the video, and that was it. That was the rest was history, man. And Dance With You at number 12 in the national charts.
Come on.
And then we were on top of the pops.
How did that feel?
Unbelievable. That was the mum, look, we made it. So that is the process of me saying when you get on TV, that's you made it to go further. That's like, okay, now we've put our foot down and we've made a